today out there with extraordinary events taking place in our country and around the world. Technology is beneficial for all of us, but I guess we need to just make sure we can use it efficiently. So I suggest everybody mute until you're going to talk, and then join in. Okay. Steve, you ready to get started?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'd like to, good evening and welcome to this emergency session of the City Council. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Steve, will you call the roll, please?
Mayor Pitts?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Miles?
Here.
Councilman Collicott?
Here.
Councilman Rossini?
Here.
Councilman Zimmerman?
Here.
City Attorney Todd Litfin?
Here.
And Steve Frank, City Manager. All present.
All present. Okay. At this time, I'd like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I know some of us may not be standing in front of a flag, but at least like us to stand, put our hands across our hearts, and say the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Somebody's please mute.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Let's all say the pledge together. Hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation,
under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. At this time, members of the public may address the council on the off-agenda items within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council, provided that no action may be taken on off-agenda items unless authorized by law. Comments are limited to 5 minutes per person, 30 minutes to all comments. Is there anyone that wishes to speak during public comments that are on the line or in person in City Hall?
We have nobody in person in City Hall.
Okay. Okay. So, Steve, I guess we'll take up the new business, the declaration of emergency proclamation.
Okay, this is agenda item number 1, a declaration of emergency proclamation. Basically, the action today before the council is adoption of resolution 2020-3474, which is ratifying the proclamation declaring the existence of a local emergency. As you're aware, the country is facing, the world is facing a novel coronavirus, COVID-19, as it's referred to. We've seen it in the United States since January of 2020. The World Health Organization has declared it a public health emergency of international concern. We are, at this point, working with local jurisdictions. The state has declared emergency, and the federal government President Trump has declared an emergency. This morning, I signed a proclamation of an emergency as the Director of Emergency Services, City Manager Villa Park, which basically enacted the provisions of emergency provisions for the city. This action now would be a ratification of the proclamation. It will basically it has to be done by the City Council. It will not have any cost associated with it, but it allows the local entity to have all the powers, rules, etc., to protect the life, liberty, property, and availability of all city emergency services. So this is a ratification again of a proclamation that was signed this morning, and we need a majority vote of the council to ratify it this afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah, Mayor, this is Todd. If I may follow up on that.
Yes, go ahead, please.
So if anybody's curious exactly what this means, if you pull up the municipal code on the website and you look at section 2A-1.6, it outlines what these powers are. So it allows the city manager, with then subsequent ratification by the council, to make rules and regulations as necessary to protect life and property, to obtain vital supplies, equipment, and such other properties found lacking needed for the protection of life and property, to require emergency services of any city officer or employee, and others as necessary, to requisition necessary personnel of any department, and to exercise all other powers related thereto. The reason we had to come to the city council is that under the government code, which authorizes these emergency powers, it has to be ratified by the council within 7 days of Steve's emergency proclamation this morning. And we found out everybody was available, so we just did it now. It will have to be revisited at each subsequent city council meeting as to whether the emergency conditions still exist. So at the end of the day, the council still is the final arbiter of any authority. So that's the procedural mechanism in front of us. I was also just informed, and maybe you guys already know this, is that the Orange County Health Officer, who acts as the city's health officer as well, just issued an emergency proclamation in line with other cities that for the next 2 weeks, only essential services people are allowed to gather at. Otherwise, they're supposed to shelter in place at home. One of the exceptions there, too, is the operation of governmental services. So the city can still function. That was one of the enumerated exceptions. And there's a number of other ones as well. But that that order was just issued by the Orange County Health Officer about 10 minutes ago.
Todd, I would also indicate that copies of that order by the health officer was forwarded to the respective council members and city staff, and it will be posted on the city's website as well.
Right, because the city has an obligation to ensure people know about the order. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Council members, do any of you have questions of the staff or comments?
I have a question for Todd.
Go ahead.
Yep.
So we ratify it today to put it into effect, and so when it's done or when it's deemed that we don't need to have this anymore, we have to ratify it again to dismiss it? Or
resend it. You'll resend at that point and see.
You can either decide not to continue it, at which point it automatically ceases, or take affirmative action to end the emergency. We'll probably have an affirmative action via resolution to end any emergency powers.
All right. Thanks.
Okay. Anything else, Crystal?
No. Thank you.
Any other council members have comments or questions? Okay. Well, do I have a motion?
I moved.
I'll second. Second.
Great. Motion's been made to approve. And a second?
So because it's telephonic, we have to have a roll call vote, Steve?
Yes, I'll do that. So the motion made by Mayor Pro Tem Crystal Miles, seconded by Councilman Rossini, to adopt, to ratify the Declaration of Emergency Proclamation by adoption of Resolution 2020-3474. So we'll take a roll call vote, starting with Councilman Colacott.
Yes.
Councilman Rossini.
Yes.
Councilman Zimmerman.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Miles.
Yes.
Mayor Pitts.
Yes.
Okay, passes by a 5-0 vote. This again, like mentioned by Todd, will come back at our next regular scheduled city council meeting for reconsideration.
Okay. Take it we don't have any other further business to conduct, so I'm going to adjourn the meeting at this point.
Sorry, quick question.
Go ahead.
Given that we know we've got shelter in place, and if there's any other business that isn't covered by emergency, do we want to tentatively schedule the next meeting as remote already, or do we want to plan ahead for that?
I would like to say that for purpose of the record, we have canceled the 25th meeting, the March meeting of, the 24th of March. That has been canceled, and I think what we're trying to do is figure out what exactly would be needed, Councilman. So before we schedule anything, I would like to have some latitude and get back to you all to see what sort of pressing business there might be that would require us to meet in advance of the April meeting.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, I guess now we'll adjourn the meeting until the next regular city council meeting can be held, whether in person or via video. Again, everybody have a safe evening. Thank you for joining. These are some extenuating circumstances. I'm glad we were able to use the technology to pull us all together in a quick fashion. So everyone take care, be safe, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.
Bye, thank you.
Thanks for sharing video. Good to see you guys.
Thank you. Goodbye. Be safe.
Yep.